Hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here by Atak Sportz for this Monday, January the 11th, 2016. Alright, let's kick it off with the NFL playoffs. My thoughts on the Wildcard games. Wow, was I one of my predictions? Of course, had the 2 AFC games and the 2 NFC games. Now, when it came to both games on both Saturday and Sunday, it's kind of like what happened when you have 2 ladder matches on the same wrestling pay-per-view. One ladder match is going to be the best, and the other ladder match is going to be not so good. Same with the AFC and NFC wildcard games. One AFC and NFC wildcard game were great. One was not so good. The not so good AFC game, that most exciting, was the first one between the Chiefs and the Texans. The only highlight of that game was that great punt return, 106-yarder touchdown punt return. Literally the first punt return of the playoffs was returned for one of the longest punt returns for a touchdown in playoff history. And that was about it. Mostly field goal palooza and blowout palooza for the Houston Texans as the Chiefs won their game, continuing their Cinderella comeback season, winning their 11th in a row. In the AFC game that was so good and for bad, was the game between the Bengals and the Steelers. The nasty, chippy play took away some of the best highlights of the game. Like, when it comes to infield play, you had great catches, including a great catch from Latavius Bennett, from Latavius Bryant. Terrific. And that acrobatic flip at the end was awesome. So great drives in there. But, like I said, the off-field shenanigans, these two all-division rivals took away from the game. Especially when the Bengals, who were down at one point, came rallying back to lead by a point, 16-15, in the last minutes of the game. But costly penalties fucked them over. Felt like a Lions meltdown. Fuzzer came with a nasty hit from Perfect. One of the, thank you, Peanut Gallery. One of the Bengals, Perfect, banged the hell out of one of the Steelers. By the way, one of them is in concussion protocol, but he is likely to play. Even Roethlisberger got injured at one point during the game and got cheered by the Bengal fans. Bengals and the fans had bad behavior. Not only the fans cheer when Roethlisberger got injured, and even pelted garbage, especially after the call against Puff already got the big hit, cost the Bengals big time yardage. And Adam Pac-Man Jones added more fuel to the fire. It added more disgrace for the Bengals organization as he battled the referee, giving another additional yards for Steelers, who were already in field goal range, added field goal yardage. So the field goal was good. Bengals blew it. They were about to break their slump of losing playoff games. Even the backup quarterback, A.J. McCarron, who finally looked confident, but nasty loss in the Winter Bengals, but they mostly deserved it because they fucked themselves in the end. It could be the end of Coach Marvin in the Bengals. 0-7 as a coach in playoff contention. The slump continues for the Bengals. I bet a lot of people are going to get fired over this. The coach, Pac-Man, and Perfect are all targeted to be fired. So that was the AFC playoff situation, the wildcard games, which means the Chiefs will go on to face off against the Broncos as a rival, the Pats, while the Steelers take on the Broncos in the divisional round next week. Let's get to the NFC playoff games in the wildcard. The one NFC game was not so good. The Vikings-Seahawks game. The only exciting point was the ending. Not much scoring in the first half. Only a field goal by Minnesota. And they did get a touchdown in the second half. I missed most of the second half because I was at a birthday party. I came back and was like, wow, Seattle won. Seattle made a comeback in the fourth quarter getting a field goal and a touchdown in the fourth. And Minnesota almost had the victory. Last seconds of the game, field goal. Welch missed a field goal, an easy field goal, which was made fun of by the internet. When you make a mistake, the internet goes all over it. Just ask Steve Harvey. Wells accepts his responsibility, which means the Seahawks are on their way to Carolina for that divisional playoff game, which meant Arizona would have to face the winner of the next game. The Seattle Seahawks, as other people in the NFC, like big one in the NFC for Seattle was the Packers, as they took on the Washington Redskins. Now, the Redskins, with Kirk Cousins as a quarterback, he has nothing to be ashamed of. He had a great performance, including running in for a touchdown, as Redskins looked really good in the first quarter and a half, as the Packers showing once again their offensive walls as they continued, including a safety at one point from the Redskins onto Rodgers, sacked in the end zone, caused a safety. But at the midpoint of the second quarter, the Packers finally played like the Packers of old. That started with a call severity against the Redskins and a long bullet. A bullet we haven't seen much from Rodgers for the most part of this regular season. For the second part of the season, threw a big bomb to James Jones, setting up a big touchdown drive, which would kick off 5 consecutive scoring drives. 3 touchdowns in a row in the second half. The Packers are finally playing good again. The offense was finally kicking after the defense did well in the first quarter. The defense did well, including some big hits and sacks for Mr. Clay Matthews, my mom's favorite player. But the offense, like I said, took a long time to get going. But once they finally got going, it finally played like the Packers we all know. The Packers that were the dominant force in the NFC North for years until the Vikings kicked them off. And Aaron Rodgers finally playing like the MVP of last year. The Packers stomped through the Washington Redskins, beating them in an exciting game, the best game of the NFC wildcard matchup. I think it was like 23. I didn't remember. 23-18. I think that was the score. Yeah, 35-18 was the score for the Packers and Redskins. And now Packers, who played awesomely yesterday, would have to face the team that slaughtered them 38-6 just a few weeks ago, the Arizona Cardinals. If the Packers come out like they did yesterday, they could do well against the Cardinals. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I predicted that all 4 away teams would win because they had more experience. Their quarterbacks had more experience in the playoffs, and it showed. That's for the first time ever in playoff history that all 4 away teams won the wildcard games, and I predicted it. But when it comes to divisional, I'm going a different route. I'm actually going the home team route. For my predictions for divisional, I predict the Broncos would beat the Steelers because the Steelers are banged up. You know, even though I heard one of the Bengals said that a guy faked an injury, that Antonio Brown faked his injury, that big hit from Perfect, that gave him that big parody that started the Bengals' downfall. And Roethlisberger's hurt too. He hurt his shoulder, as mentioned during the game. So I think Broncos have the better advantage because the guys are healthy. And of course, Peyton Manning starting after coming back off the bench in the last game of the regular season to help the Broncos clinch the playoff berth and also get #1 seed. So I say Broncos will win that game. Then the game against the Chiefs and the Pats. The Pats will win that game. Yeah, they were like the hottest team in the AFC until they lost a couple of games, including the last 2 games of the regular season. Not much momentum on their side. Losing to both of all teams, the Jets and the Dolphins. I heard they were purposely losing so they don't have to face up against the Steelers. But nonetheless, despite those 2 losses, Pats may be on the way back. I think some of the best players are coming back and healthy with a couple weeks off. Made Gronk healthy after bruised ankle. And Amendola might be coming back soon. So that's why I'm predicting Pats will win that game. In the NFC side, Carolina Panthers will beat the Seahawks. I'm sorry. Seahawks had an okay year, but not good enough. Panthers have had the best year. They had some near close encounters, almost losing the game against the Giants, but then losing against the Falcons, but were covered with 4 big touchdowns in the last game of the regular season. So Panthers are looking good. They're the #1 seed. And I think they're going to wild through the Panthers are going to wild through the Seahawks. Despite what I just said about the Packers, I still say the Cardinals are going to beat the Packers. The Cardinals looked awesome in their game against the Packers. They just destroyed them. Aaron Rodgers got sacked 13 times in the game against the Cardinals. And the offensive line did better in the game against the Redskins, finally playing well in the second half. From the second quarter on, the offensive line did well. Aaron Rodgers only got sacked like 3 or 4 times. No interceptions, only 1 turnover against Washington. Only 1 turnover. So, it was a clean game. No stupid referee calls. No off-field shenanigans during the game against the Packers and the Redskins yesterday. So, despite the Packers playing really well against the Redskins, the Cardinals will still beat them. So, after last week going the away team well, predicting the home teams will win the divisional games next week. The Pats, the Broncos, and the AFC. They was probably going to see a rematch of 2014 AFC Championship game between the Pats and the Broncos. And the Panthers against the Cardinals. Because that's like the dream. The #1 and 2 seed of each conference go on. I think that's like everyone's predictions. Probably the top 2 seeds go on. But that may not pan out that way. Because sometimes the #1 team does lose. Sometimes the #2 seed plays. So that's what I'm going with. The #1 and #2 seed of each conference will win their games next week. Now, on with wrestling. Now, before we get to Raw preview, get to the Hall of Fame. Now, we all know we got some people going in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that the finalists will be revealed February 6th, including a possible placement for Brett Favre. But the WWE Hall of Fame, there's no building for it. They need one. Bad. I'd go to that one. Because I'm a big wrestling fan, as everybody knows. They announced the first name for the class of 2016 WWE Hall of Fame. Now, there was rumors about Vader going in, but that ain't true. But it said another WCW legend is going in. A man of many names. The Icon. Or otherwise known as the man called Sting. Yep, that's right, Sting. I think we all knew at some point when Sting signed on to WWE in 2014, we all knew at some point that Sting was going to go in the WWE Hall of Fame. Yeah, for a guy who's only 1-2 in WWE matches, only winning a Raw match last year against a tag team match on Raw, and losing at Mania and losing at Night of Champions. That's not what he's being acknowledged for. He's being acknowledged for his overall contribution, mostly his WCW career. Multi-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Multi-time U.S. Champion, TV Champion, Tag Team Champion. And he's been a man that's been known for many transformations. Of course, from the muscle-bound, blonde-haired, colorful face-painted man who teamed up with the Ultra Warrior in his earlier days, to, of course, the Crow-inspired black and white look that would dominate Sting's character for the majority of his career for the last 20 or so years. Going on 20 years next year since he debuted. This year he kind of did. This year, 20 years ago, 1996. So Sting deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for sure. He'll be going in Dallas on April the 2nd. Tickets will go on sale this Friday. And of course, as expected, the Hall of Fame ceremony will likely be broadcasted on the WWE Network. Who should induct Sting? Is a good question. It's simple. Ric Flair. No other choice. There's no other choice to induct Sting. Ric Flair has to be the one to induct Sting. Ric Flair kind of made Sting into a main event of the first Clash at the Champions match. The very first Clash of Champions was huge for Sting's career. So it makes sense. And Ric Flair has always said Sting's been one of his favorite opponents besides Dusty Rhodes. So that's why I think Ric Flair is the obvious choice for Duck's thing. Now, let's get to the present. And the WWE Raw preview for tonight. Top 5 questions that must be answered tonight as the road to the Rumble, which just got interesting with the stip that the title will be defended by Reigns in the Rumble match itself. Heat it up. Top 5 questions must be answered tonight. Question number 5. What will go down for the U.S. title and the Divas title? Now, if Cena out, yes, John Cena. The injury list continues. As John Cena just got surgery a couple days ago, which will probably mean he's out for WrestleMania and out of a possible match with Del Rio at the Rumble. They were headed that well. After Cena and Del Rio fought on the Raw after Christmas, the last Raw of 2015, and there was a DQ setting up a possible rematch at the Rumble, but that's not happening. And Kalisto beat Del Rio on SmackDown this past Thursday. Not bad for SmackDown Thursday on USA Network. They didn't make a proper review, but I like that SmackDown. Mauro Ranallo, who I love for New Japan, adds a lot to that commentating team. Better than the Raw team. Even Byron Saxton, who sucks on Raw, is better on SmackDown. And Jay Law showing hints of heel Lawler again. So, we may see Kalisto go for the U.S. Championship, and may see a feud develop between Becky and Charlotte. Great match, by the way, on that SmackDown as well this past Thursday. Fun Divas match, even with Ric Flair's interference. With Charlotte finally bracing full heel, so I think Becky could get a rematch at the Rumble as well. Before we finally get the feud we've all been wanting, Sasha and Charlotte, if Sasha's not seriously injured. So Sasha's not injured too, but she denies it, thankfully. Hopefully it is not true, because we want Sasha and Charlotte at Mania. Speaking of people that may be going for titles again from SmackDown matches at Royal Rumble, what will Owens do after losing? Well, not technically losing, against Dean Ambrose on SmackDown. Awesome IC title match between Ambrose and Owens. It needs to be no DQ at the Rumble. It has to be a no DQ match in the Rumble because I was watching a match, a fun match. I love these two feuding. Some feuds we get sick of quickly, but we are not sick of this feud yet. They're doing a great job. They make us interested in the feuds. That's what's been wrong with the WWE storylines. They haven't put much. They don't put much effort into the feuds to make us interested in them. They're putting a lot of effort into Owens Ambrose feud, treating it like a very important feud, which it is. Making the IC title more important too. And Ambrose defending it more than when he did when he was U.S. champion. So ending the DQ, I knew there was going to be a screwy ending. Rematch of the Rumble needs to be no DQ. That's my opinion. And speaking of the Rumble, will there be any new matches added for the Rumble and new participants? We all know, as I mentioned, the title is now on the line in the Rumble match. First time in 24 years that the title's been on the line in the Rumble match. Yes, it was a vacated title, so it's the second time the title's been on the line, but it's the first time the title's been defended in the Rumble. It was vacated, like I said, in 92. So there you go. We're going to give some more participants tonight, including Lesnar. We'll get to him in a moment. And maybe some other matches, including, I said, possible Becky Charlotte match, Kalisto Del Rio, and mentioned Owens and Ambrose. Stemming from SmackDown this past Thursday. I watch SmackDown more because I liked it this past Thursday, the first one on USA Network. You know, the new commentary team with great action on SmackDown this past week. May watch it a lot more. Now, question number 2. How will Reigns retaliate after finding out he wanted to defend the title at the Rumble? Well, he is, of course, we all know now, public enemy number 1 when it comes to the Authority. Trying to take him down, trying to screw him over with a possible Triple H return at the Rumble. So we'll see how Reigns does and tries to get momentum on his side and try not to get screwed over again at the Rumble. The match he won last year. This time it's not in Pennsylvania. Yay! It's in Florida. Yeah, Florida. It's a Florida joke here. And of course, question number 1. We'll go down with the return of the Beast. The mayor of Suplex City, Brock Lesnar. Or should I say, Brock Lesnar has been doing some house shows last month in New York, in Los Angeles, and recently Houston this past weekend. So we all knew he was coming back soon enough, and he may possibly be in it. He and Triple H, if he makes a surprise return, are the favorites probably going in the Rumble. If Lesnar does reveal he's in the Rumble tonight, which, like I said, is likely. He's in it. So let's see if someone will be going on a trip to Suplex City tonight in New Orleans. On Monday Night Raw tonight at 8, 7 Central on USA. That is it. My Atak Sportz. See you later on tonight on this channel for my Raw review. You've been attacked by the sports news from Zach. See ya! Yeah.